Zoom recording. Okay, I'm gonna mute myself and turn my video off so you won't see me. If you need me, Marlene, let me know. But I will interrupt and say I'm leaving for a second if I do actually leave. But if I don't say that, then I'm in the background. It's just that my battery will die before we're done if I don't do that.
Okay. Alrighty. And like Kelly said before, if you have any questions, feel free just to you know, you don't have to even raise your hand. Just ask a question anytime as we're going through here. So.
I have a question.
Yes.
So do we use cotton swab in this one?
Say again.
Is this the one where we use cotton swab?
Yeah, you can either use a Q-tip cotton or you could use a toothpick or a paintbrush or anything. It's just for moving the paint around a little bit. It's not going to be a whole lot.
It's for mixing the ink. So do you have like a Q-tips or anything, or
I have some Q-tips I could use.
I need a few moments.
What I meant to. Yeah, I should have put Q-tips. That's what a cotton swab. That's what we were wanting.
Yeah, Q-tip or like I say, old paintbrush. You know, you don't want to use a nice one for something else because the ink will get on it. But
I need a few moments to get rocks because I am outside because I don't really have a place where I can paint.
So you're going to go get something to...
Some rocks to put on the paper to keep it
already. And also a straw is really a really good thing to have. Does everybody have a straw? You know, if you have more than one straw, you can use a straw also for mixing the paint.
Wait,
does everyone have a straw? I think you'd find that to be really helpful.
I had mentioned a straw, and the straw I think was for some because you're kind of blowing it around, right? Is that correct? Yeah.
Right.
Are Q-tips okay?
Q-tips are fine. Yeah.
Yep, that's what the cotton swabs. That's what I meant by cotton swabs.
Yeah.
Can we use gloves if we want to?
Yes, absolutely. I don't, just because I usually don't get ink on my fingers. It'll take a couple times washing it off. If you get it on there, it's not, it's washable, but it probably will take a couple times to wash off. So if you have gloves, feel free to use those, definitely. Any other questions? Okay, if everyone's ready to get started, I'm going to start with sharing my screen. I've got a little background PowerPoint here as we start. So.
And Marlene, I did share the getting to know you bio about yourself, but if you want to let them know just a couple sentences, what you do at Mentor Technical, and they'd probably like to hear what you do and get to know you a little bit.
Okay. Yeah, I've been at MATC, Minnetonka Technical College, for this is going to start my 14th year. I teach communications, interpersonal, writing, speech, a little bit of everything. Before that, I was out at Fort Riley for Barton County Community College and taught math and writing and English, basic foundation, some of the GT-ASVAB for the soldiers. So a wide range. Before
So what are we doing?
Say again?
So what are we doing?
We're going to be working with color and some chemistry with color at the end here.
She hadn't started anything yet. She was just telling us about herself. That's all.
Okay, is everyone kind of more or less situated? Got your rocks and ready to go? We, like I say, we've got a little introduction. I'm going to go with some demonstrations before you actually start doing it. What you'll be doing really goes really fast. It's not a long, drawn-out process. So let me share my screen and start with the PowerPoint here.
I only have 50% the alcohol stuff.
That's fine. I think the reaction is stronger if it's more, but that's fine.
I need a second to get a straw.
Okay. My computer's a little slow. Laptop's slower than my regular computer. Okay, can everybody see this first slide? Everyone see Science of Color?
Yep, we see it.
Okay, good. Okay, so this is the agenda. We're going to talk a little bit about color in general, some of the effects of color, even some history and culture with color. Then we'll get into the chemistry of mixing some. I'm going to demo with some milk, and then we'll end up you doing some of the alcohol ink chemistry with colors. So that's the agenda. So again, starting with color. So who can tell me what are the three primary colors that make every other color?
Yellow, red, blue.
Okay, so let me stop sharing. So I'm going to turn my.
And just for just for reference, since it's hard when she's sharing her screen, it automatically takes it away from me, at least, even from the gallery view to it makes it so I can only see a few of you at a time. And so when you are sharing something or you have a question, you might say your name because your picture isn't going to pop up right away. So just say this is Kelly or this is Vincent or Garrick or whoever, and primary. So just so we can know who's talking. Okay, guys. Thanks.
Okay, like they said, your primary colors, yellow, red, and blue, make every other color. Can you see those on your screen okay? The dollar store didn't have red, so I've got pink, which is just a diluted reds, but it'll show the same thing. So as you take those and you mix the red and the yellow together, what color will you end up with?
Orange.
Orange. And this will become more orange as we wait. And then
I'm gonna leave and rejoin. Everybody's videos are frozen for me.
Okay, so when we mix yellow and blue, what are you going to get? Okay, green's the secondary. And then the last one, when you mix, it's supposed to be red and blue, you get what?
Purple.
Purple. Okay, very good. And what happens if you mix all of them together?
The color will be white.
Yeah, you get a brown, blackish, something that kind of gets mucky and so forth. So as you go and work with different colors, be aware of the combination there of how you can use the different ones together. And if you have a paper towel, that's always handy. Okay, let me go back to sharing my screen. Okay, so like we looked at, there's red, blue, and yellow, and then your primaries, your secondaries, and every other color that you can make. Also, when you put colors together, you want to be aware of ones that kind of go together well, that look nice. Analogous colors are ones that are close together, like this blue, green, blue, and green all together. They work well together. Like this shows an example of them working together. The complementary colors, you've probably heard of that, opposite on the color wheel. So a primary with a secondary color, they go well together, they don't clash. And so what are some of the effects? If you have a blue room you're in, how does it make you feel? Is it stimulating, relaxing, happy? What?
Calming.
Say again?
Relaxed.
Relax, okay. Blues can be, colors can be associated with other things too. If you've had a good experience with something that's a certain color you might have, but generally research shows most people feel relaxed with types of blues. Pink, is that a relaxing color? How would you react?
Not even remotely.
Okay, so a little bit more hyper if you're in a pink room.
No, this makes me get rid of something.
It makes you what?
Energetic.
Makes me want to break
Energetic.
something.
I want to break something. Okay, so it's the opposite of relaxing. Yellow. How about a yellow room?
Energetic.
Once again?
Energetic.
Energetic.
Also
okay.
a little bit cheerful too.
A little bit cheerful. Usually yellow goes along with cheerful, happy. Also, it can make you hungry, they say. So yeah, energy, hunger, happiness are pretty common. How about red? Red is a color that's people are
Power.
Kind of
attracted.
relaxing.
What's that?
It's kind of relaxing.
It can be. It kind of has a variety of things. Babies will reach for red first. We're kind of attracted to red. Why do you think stop signs and red lights are red?
To get our attention.
To get your attention, yeah. I've heard, and I don't know if it's true, but they say more red cars get tickets. Have anyone else heard that before? No. I guess once you get
I've heard that.
drive.
The age and color of your car. I've heard the color of your car is a lot. I think that white is supposed to be the one that they the insurance companies will like best because and red is like if you have a red car, they'll insurance companies will charge you more for your insurance. I think, especially if you're a young boy.
I've heard that too. You think of red kind of as sports cars, but yeah, I've heard that too. Red also can help heighten your appetite. It's kind of a power color too. Excitement, anxiety are some of the things that might be associated with red. So what colors do McDonald's and Burger King use for their advertising?
Yellow.
Yellow and what?
Red.
Yellow and red. Yellow and red, they're both colors that make you hungry. They also grab your attention. They make you feel happy. So when you look at different advertisements, you know, they've done research to understand that the effects of color.
They also don't they change their logos might be a certain way, but then their actual like inside the restaurant might be a different color because they want you to be hungry, but they don't want you to hang out for too long.
Right.
Right. And so, excuse me, I have read that, you know, they're very aware of what will make you hang out and maybe take up space when they don't want you to be there forever.
Yeah, definitely. And I've heard that blues sometimes, you know, calm and relaxing, but also I've got a blue dining room kitchen. It's supposed to, you know, be the opposite of making you hungry, I guess. So, yeah, they know how color works on people. So, all of your cool colors, you know, you have a relaxing feel to any blues or greens. I was going to paint my basement a bluish gray, and my brother that's a painter said, oh, I wouldn't do that because it makes you feel cold. If you paint him a warm color, it'll feel warmer, and basements typically are cooler. It's like, and he's done a lot of painting, so I was like, oh, I guess that would be true. I never thought about it that way. So meanings of green. Green's used, you know, for nature, grass, calming, as a growing color. I've read that you shouldn't, as a teacher, not to use red ink, and so I changed to green pens, but people like the red, they can see it easier, so they turn back to red if I'm marking something so it's visible. But it is more of a growing color. What else do you associate with green? Anyone? What's green also mean as a slang? You've got green, what you got?
Money? This kind
Money.
of goes.
Yeah, we associate it with money too. Purple, K-State's royal purple is royalty. Also creativity, a lot of times people associate with purple. Anything else you associate with purple? Those are the two main things. White, what does that symbolize?
Peace.
Clean, pure, fresh. So if there's an advertisement.
Marshmallow Man.
Say again?
Stay Puffed Marshmallow Man from Ghost.
Marshmallow Man.
Peace? It represents peace.
It represents what?
Peace.
Okay. So there's associations with, like, say, Marshmallow Man. There's certain things we associate just from previous experiences, but a lot of times advertisers, they'll show a white coat. If they're, I had one advertisement, they were selling Teflon dishes for cooking with, and they were showing that the white lab coat as if it was pure and so forth. We also, in the olden days, used to have white wedding gowns. Why were they white? Symbol of what does white gowns symbolize?
Wealth.
Usually it's purity is why they have white gowns, purity. And this changes with different cultures and stuff. Black, symbolic, it can be death, depending on the culture, but also it can be strength or power. Anything else you associate with black?
Darkness.
Darkness. So it can be more of a negative death type of thing. Has anybody ever been to Germany? I hear Germany is very big into different colors of flowers symbolizing different things. But even here in the United States, what is one single red rose symbolic of?
Love.
Love. And if you get a yellow rose, what is that?
Friendship.
Friendship. Okay. And like I say, I've heard people go into detail with different colors and so forth. That ties into culture. And you can look at lots of advertising things, and they use the colors in their logos, in their advertising, for emotional responses. Okay, now we're going to talk a little about color in history, and I hope this will play a little song from a few years ago. There we go. This ties to history and culture.
I can't hear that hardly at all, Marlene.
Oh, you can't hear it?
No.
I can hear it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Pretty
Okay, well, I
loud.
will. I guess if you can't hear it, that's not going to be effective.
I
Tony
heard it for
Orlando.
as soon as I said that, I heard it for like a second, but then I was,
Anyway,
yeah.
okay.
I heard
Okay, but we've seen the symbol of yellow ribbons. This was a few years ago when that was pretty common. So yellow is associated with coming home, yellow ribbons and so forth. Women's suffrage movement also had yellow associated with that. What state did that start in? Women started trying to get vote and other rights. What state started that? Anyone take a guess?
Tennessee.
No, try again.
Kansas?
Kansas, yes. Yellow's been used for a variety of things. Defiance is one of, in 1867 is when Kansas started the movement, and they chose yellow because of the sunflower being our state flower. So like I say, yellow has different things associated with it, but in this case, it was because of our sunflower. It's also been associated with other things. You've heard of the term, you're a yellow belly. Anyone heard that? Is that totally old fashioned? Have you heard it in a movie or anything? What does, if I called you a yellow belly, what would that mean?
You're an idiot.
A coward?
A coward is usually what it is. Idiots sometimes go along with that. But yeah, cowardness was tied to that. And that in the past, it was tied to anti-Jew things. It was also, thanks to Edward I, patches for the Jews with a Nazi yellow star on it. So there's been lots of associations, people linked to that color and other colors. Okay, we're going to do some experiments next. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And I have to step over here and get some milk. So 1 second.
Do we need milk for this?
No, I'm going to have milk.
Okay, yeah.
I guess she's thirsty.
You don't need the milk. I'm just going to have it for the
She's
demonstration.
She's using it for a demo, but you guys don't need it. She's just using it
Yeah.
for a demonstration.
If at a later time you want to experiment with this, I didn't think milk would be very easy to get to people, so I just wanted to show this to you. So if you want to experiment another time, it's an interesting reaction with milk. So I use coconut milk, so that's what I have. I was kind of surprised this worked as well as it did with coconut milk. The higher the fat, the more reaction you're going to get. So for this, you just take the milk and pour it into a wide bowl or a plate and dump some food coloring, food dye into the milk. Like this is like a fun thing to experiment with just on your own if you want to sometime with your parents' permission using your milk and food dye. And again, you can see as you mix different colors, you make different combinations here. But watch real close because the most interesting part is when you take some dish soap and see the chemical reaction. Can everybody see this okay? You're going to see some fast reaction here once I put the soap in. Everybody see how it made the colors and stuff kind of react together? Like I say, you could try different types of soaps, different skim milk compared to whole milk has a lot more fat, a lot more reactions with it. But this is not very permanent and kind of messy, so I'm going to dump it down the drain here. And then we're going to go on to your project, which is a little bit more permanent. Now, you should have got some UPA paper, or you can also use like photo paper. This one's some small ones I had. As long as it's a smooth surface, and make sure you get the side that's really smooth to do your alcohol painting on. So you can do small ones. I'll demonstrate some techniques here, and then you can start experimenting with these. But like I say, put some wax paper or something down in case something drops off the edge. And your alcohol ink, you can just drop a couple little drops and keep it kind of in the middle as much as you can. Put your lid on each time so you don't make too much of a mess. And again, they're going to combine together in some spots and make new colors. And this dries pretty fast. I'll show you another technique you can actually put out first if you wanted to. Then, like I say, you can take anything to mix this with, whether it's a paintbrush, a toothpick, and it's starting to mix by itself already. Some, but you can mix your colors if you want to make, lines down here anywhere. You can mix it together because once you put the alcohol on, it's going to change. So then if you take your alcohol and put it in a little cup, I guess I should have said that at the beginning. You can use it out of a bottle, but I poured some in a little cup just to make it easier to use my little dropper. And as you drop things on here, you'll see the reaction, just like we saw in the milk, how it reads.
So should I pour alcohol in this thing?
Excuse me?
Should I pour alcohol in this thing?
In a what?
In this container.
Yeah, it's just any kind of small container. I just have a little bitty glass just to make it easier to work out of.
So what am I doing?
You drop your paint on your paper, and then you're going to drop with your dropper here. You're going to put alcohol in it and drop it onto the ink, and it's going to make it kind of disperse. Then if you want to, you can use your straw and blow on it.
Does it matter which dropper we use?
No, I think the droppers you're referring to those little clear droppers.
Yeah, the plastic droppers.
Yeah,
those are
No,
yours didn't look
I'm
like.
referring to the color.
The droppers are just just so you can put small amounts of alcohol onto the.
I'm referring to the color.
Say again?
The color.
You could use any colors you want. You'll see if it's too wet, it'll kind of run a little bit too. But by blowing on it, you can kind of direct it and kind of get some interesting patterns. So that's one way to start, like with that, and it just makes pretty designs without you doing too much yourself. Too thick, it dries in 10 or 20 seconds, and if you don't like something about it, you can add color. So you don't like little lines here, you can add drop ball. Again, you can move it around here and redesign anything you want. I'd say blowing on it is a fun technique. And then you can just set it down and let it finish drying and kind of have a fun little pattern of colors. Another way you can start, again, make sure you have the smooth surface up, is just to cover the paper with alcohol. So this is kind of like a watercolor wet on wet, like you see for the sky or something. So it's wet, so when you drop your alcohol ink onto it, it's dispersing right away.
So I have to get this wet first or not?
You don't have to. It's one technique you can do if you want it to start kind of dispersing out right away. You can start just directly with the paint on the paper if you want. Where you're going to see the reaction, the chemical reaction, is when you get the alcohol mixed with the ink. And that's where you see some reaction. At any time, you can use
Pretty quick dry.
It dries really quickly, but if I let this dry, I can come back in 20 minutes or the next day and I don't like it, I can add alcohol and it's going to make it chemically come back alive again. Again, you can use your Q-tip any way you want. Like I say, you don't have to go to the edges. I think things look kind of nice when you have that white around the outside. I think the straw is really nice. Warning about using the straw. If you blow too much, it can make you lightheaded and dizzy. So don't blow too much. So again, just a couple colors there makes a pretty little card. This is something I did quite some time ago that I came back several times and kind of reworked it. I could come back, like this was done a couple weeks ago. I could come back right now if I didn't like some part of it, drop alcohol, it's going to chemically make it, back to the beginning again. You can see just different combinations. These drops here is just alcohol without blowing. It goes down and it makes these little circles. So when you drop the alcohol on it like that, this one here was a long piece of paper. Would be a good bookmarker, but I would want to spray some Affixite on that just so it shouldn't bleach unless you got alcohol in it. But just to protect it, you can put Affixite on it. These small little ones are kind of fun. I use them for birthday cards, just to put on a gift, punch a hole in it, and it's right on the back, and you've got a cute little card that didn't cost much, if anything, to make. So you'll see different combinations of just dropping and kind of playing with it, experimenting with it. I say if it runs off the edge, make sure you have something like this plastic or a plate to catch it. As you experiment with it, you'll see that it dries really pretty quickly. But let's say the good thing is to take something, add more alcohol, whether it's today or next week, and you can reactivate it and work with it more. So let me go ahead and give you all some time to do some experimenting. I'm gonna put my milk away and come back in just a second.
So what exactly does the alcohol?
You just drip the alcohol on top here and there, I guess, and it spreads it all out. Here's mine.
The alcohol makes it liquid again so that you can move it around, whether you blow it with your straw or use your Q-tip or paintbrush or toothpick, whatever you have. And that's the chemical reaction, the alcohol with the ink. If you're making a large painting, like say the skylight blue I have here, I put alcohol down so it kind of dispersed kind of it. I let it dry, came back and did some other sections just so I'd have variety in it. You can see where there were spots.
What are you doing with this? The dish soap.
The dish soap is just for if you're going to play with the milk. The dish soap is like to that milk as alcohol is to the ink. So the dish soap is if you were to want to see the chemical reaction with the milk and look at how the different fats react with the different kinds of soaps, dish soaps or hand soaps. It's just a fun chemistry experiment to work with. I see everybody working away. You want to have a finished piece there to share with everybody. You can direct your camera down to what you have. Oh, nice. Very good. Like I say, it dries fast, you can pick it up, but if it's still wet, you pick it up, you'll see it'll kind of run a little bit, which you can use it as a technique too. Another nice one. I say, I kind of like some of you, just use that white on the outside. You know, I might run some of it a little bit to the side, but it stays pretty much in the middle. Then it's less smell too. If you would like to, like say, make cards out of this, like greeting cards, you can leave them flat or fold them. I'd recommend using something like this little paper cutter that's like in the scrapbooking section. Really nice shapes and fine lines compared to scissors. That one going on.
This one?
Let's see. Yeah, looks good.
What should I do to dry it?
Say again?
What should I do to dry it?
Just lay it down. Like say, if it's not thick, it's going to dry in 10 or 20 seconds. If it's really thick, just lay it where it won't. Like say, you got it on some paint on the side. It's newspaper or something. You'll see that I made a sample of putting ink on just drawing paper, and it soaks right through. Even a paper plate, when you put it soaks through. You can't work with it unless it's a smooth surface. So that's why either the photo paper's smooth, but I say something that's porous is going to suck that ink right down, and put it on what's underneath it. That's why newspapers.
Are we allowed to start our next page after
Say
we're
again?
done with our first? Are we allowed
Yeah,
to
go
start?
ahead and do whatever you would like. Like say, if you want to take paper and we
Look
didn't
at
really
this.
say scissors today, cut it into smaller pieces to make these small little like note cards instead of your larger paper that's more of a painting. Take the frame and put on the wall. You can kind of do with whatever you want.
So what's this for?
What's that? Nice.
What's this alcohol for?
The alcohol you drip on it and get these nice effects. The chemical reaction gives you these nice effects. So you're supposed to have your alcohol and you take your dropper and drop it onto your paint. Those reactions.
I just did a bit of experimenting. Then I patted this dry with a paper towel. How does this look?
Ah, nice. Yeah, I've seen papers that almost for effects of cloudy looking kind of things to soak up some of the extra.
I have mine gone from blue to light blue to green.
Yeah.
And then mixed together at the bottom, it worked perfectly.
Yeah, looks good. You'll see if you go to YouTube, there's hundreds, thousands of different techniques. They'll use turning boards so you can blow different directions. They even have these little canister sprays of air so you don't get lightheaded, and they really are strong spraying. You can try different things. I tried a turkey baster and it wasn't strong enough, but I think I could have probably used one of those baby syringe things. Probably might have been powerful enough to not have to.
I think you could also use a hair dryer.
A hair dryer. I tried that, and I've seen some techniques that said it's it kind of just it's not as strong as, so it doesn't quite go as fast as far as spraying it out. Like I've seen techniques with hair dryers. Yeah, there's all sorts of ideas of how to combine things and so forth with it. One nice thing is it dries so quickly. I really like that about it. And like I say, you can come back and rework it if you don't like it. Just add alcohol to it, and you can add more paint too if you want, and you've got new things going on. But some of these simple ones, it was just one time real quick, and it turns out to a nice result.
You guys are getting kind of a muddy color. You might want to go back to remembering what creates certain colors. So if you don't want that muddy color, that brown color, then stay away from combining the key rule is don't combine the warms and the cools together. Like stay with all blues and greens, or then on the other one do pinks and reds and yellows.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, I've got that one.
That's good, Garrett.
This one I almost got kind of muddy just because I had so much going on. I went back several times on that one. Some of these simple ones are just one time real fast and not much to it. You get kind of fun results. You can also use this on tiles. If you have little ceramic tiles, you can use it with a hard surface. You can work with the inks. Again, I would recommend.
Can you do this with regular paper?
Regular paper, it'll go through and you're not going to get the results. This is just regular drawing paper, and it soaked right through, and it didn't give me time to do anything. I put alcohol and just soaked right in. So you want something hard and smooth. That's why this for photographs works well. Yes?
What about cardstock?
It's got to be that smooth top to it. So I don't think, someone said you could use a canvas, and I tried that here because there is a paint that sealed it somewhat, but you can see with the canvas, it's just a regular canvas from Hobby Lobby, that if you look close, you can see the grainy stuff. So I think if you wanted to use a canvas, you should paint it with a sealer, a white sealer first.
I work with a lot of different kind of art forms and mediums, and I think the paper you have is probably the best as far as the bleeding, or like the moving around. Right. You can also use like acetate, I saw, and then if you're going to use regular paper or art paper that's not glossy and shiny like that, I think you can use, probably the best one to use would be something like a thicker stock, like watercolor paper, or or like you were saying, there's something out there. It's called gesso, and gesso is a white paint almost, but it's like it coats it. It's like a primer basically, and you can put that then on any kind of paint or paper surface.
Oh.
Let that dry, and then it won't soak through.
Right. So that's what this canvas, like I say, it has some kind of coating, but it's not enough because you can see the grain come through.
Right. If you do the gesso paint
put
on
that
the
on there
canvas,
first.
that would
Yeah.
work. That would make it
Yeah.
better, I think.
Seal it and let it dry for a day or something before you paint it. And then you'd have, easy to hang on the wall if you want, because these you'd have to put into a frame if you wanted to hang it. Like
So
they
I
did.
already did all 3. So what should I do for the next like 28 minutes that's left?
I'm going to, once everyone's kind of got a feel for this and done some of these, I was going to show you just some more demos of other things that's similar you can do. Is everyone ready to kind of go on to look at some demonstrations? And it's just plain with, I say, if you've got milk and food coloring and soap, you could experiment with that too. But let me move my computer over here to the other room real quick. Okay, this is something else that's quite fun to do. It's a lot more messy and it takes a long time to dry, but acrylic pours. Anybody heard of acrylic pours? Kelly, have you done any acrylic pours? This is something that my 8-year-old niece did. And it's just acrylic paint. You mix it with a medium. There's a couple different ones you can choose from. To make a pour like this, what she did then is you just take a cup, like a plastic disposable cup, pour your colors in it, put your cup like that, turn it over, lift it up, and disperses out. Then you can kind of rotate it. I mean, you can do some manipulation with the brush, but the chemical reactions make these little bubble things that are so neat looking there on that. Like I say, an 8-year-old did that one, and this one. This is one of my favorite ones that she did with that. Another technique with the acrylic is a swipe. This is a swipe where you take the canvas, you've mixed your acrylics with your medium, and you just put it across here. You just pour it out like in a ketchup bottle. And then you take a wet paper towel and you swipe it across this way. So you'll see the lines going down. And then you just rotate this around like this and let the paint kind of go and move. Again, if you look real close, there's some neat chemical reactions to make these little bubbles right here with this. But like I say, this is wet paint. It takes a long time to dry. And then when you're finished, you should spray it with a clear glossy sealer to finish the technique. So it's similar. You still have reactions going on, chemical reactions going on, but like I say, it's much messier. You need a layer of cardboard. It doesn't soak through like ink does, but you're going to be rolling it off the side, so it's messy. So you need like cardboard all over your table and that kind of thing for acrylic pours or acrylic swipes. Again, there's all sorts of videos talking about different techniques for the acrylic. Like I say, it's just acrylic paint medium that you do. There's other things you can add to get a little more chemical reaction. So no one's seen those or before?
I have. I've seen with the ink, I've seen something, and I don't know exactly what kind of medium it is, but it's like You can. It looks like maybe you can buy them in discs or almost like the size of a coaster, like a drink coaster. And
Uh-huh.
it's like it's clear. It's some kind of clear medium, and it's maybe a fourth to a half of an inch thick, and it soaks up kind of, and it kind of looks like. Do you know what I'm talking about? I don't. I'd have to look it up, but I was looking at videos last night, and that was one thing I saw ink. If you just Google alcohol ink project,
Uh-huh.
you can find a bunch of different art projects online and tutorials, YouTube videos, things like that.
Yeah. Yeah, there's lots of the alcohol ink, and then the acrylic pours are really popular because you can get really fun products that you could put on your wall. And like I say, an 8-year-old did that one. So it's fun to work with, fun to see the color reactions and the chemical reactions in there. Different techniques with acrylic's been around longer, it seems like, than the ink's been around for a while too, but kind of a fun thing to work with. So the rest of the time, like I say, if you want to play a little bit with the milk, if you got milk and food coloring and dish soap, you can see some chemical reactions, but there's no takeaways with that one, and it's fun takeaway. So anyone have any other questions? We're finishing earlier. I was told to leave time for y'all to do it, but like I say, it's a pretty fast project that you can get a good result without spending a lot of time doing it.
Yeah, and so we got a good 20 minutes or so, but
Salt do anything?
What, Garrick? I'm sorry.
Does salt do anything?
Salt. So I have seen salt do stuff in anything that's water soluble. So I have seen it, like, if you use it with watercolor paints. I know that you can take salt, put it on, and then if you leave the paint to dry, and I don't know if this works for the inks, probably, I don't know. I haven't ever tried it, but the salt will like absorb the color from the paint, and then once it's dry, you just wipe the paint or the salt off, and it leaves little like little polka dots, which is kind of cool. And I know one other thing, paper towels work, but also I've seen people use baby wipes to wipe off paints and kind of smear different things. I've gotten really into like the water soluble things, and so I've used I don't know if anybody have ever tried watercolor, but in the form of colored pencils. They're kind of cool because you have more control when you're first putting them on, and then you can smudge them either with even sometimes your finger. I use something they're called gelatos, and it's almost like it looks like it's in a lipstick roll, and they're kind of waxy. It's not as smooth as like oil paints, but they come out like that, and you get them wet like a paper or a watercolor paint. But you can put those on, and then you can smear them with baby wipes or wet paper towels. Or the baby wipes kind of cool because you kind of have a little bit more control than if you're dripping water on it or something, or even sometimes with your brush. But I don't know if salt would work on that, though. Have you tried that, Marlene?
No, but it'd be interesting to see the chemical reactions of it.
I'm trying salt right now, but nothing's really happening.
It might take a little bit. I wonder if and probably the bigger salt, I know we used all that rock salt from earlier. That would have been cool. But if you have like coarse like sea salt or coarser like kosher salt, that might, then table salt you probably wouldn't be able to even see as well unless you dumped a big clunk of it on there. But if you've got the coarser salt, you might be able to see the granules a little bit better also. As far as our time goes, if you guys are good to go, the rest of the afternoon is yours. I did post on for the link that has all the Zoom meetings and stuff that goes by days, and it's the first thing you'll see on the homepage. I will post the videos later tonight. It takes me a while to upload them all. And then also on there are links to a PDF and a Word document. They're the same exact document. One's just in different versions based on what you want. Because if you're wanting to open them up and edit them, like write with a stylus on an iPad or something tomorrow, the PDF would probably work better. The Word document, you could type in if you wanted. I emailed it also to your parents, so if they have the ability to print it off, maybe at work or something, or if you can print it off at home. If you have that, that's our first session tomorrow. You do not have to print it if you can't. That's completely fine. But it's just for you to record your findings for the Skittle thing that you guys are doing tomorrow, and that's at 8:30. But I thought I'd send that out, and that's posted again on Canvas. If you have the ability to print that off, or you want to take a look, and even if you can't print it off, if you're able to just even record the findings on a piece of scratch paper, it won't take long to. There's not a whole lot of writing on there that you would need on that page, but they had sent that to me yesterday, and so I sent that out, or I got that out to you guys this morning. So was there any other questions? I tried the Mentimeter thing. I can leave open, but the problem is after a while it kicks me off even, and so I don't think I can leave that on all night. But I will for sure download the results, and I'll put the results on the Canvas so we can see what everybody posted on that. So is there any other questions? Can we thank Marlene for teaching us about color? That was kind of cool. And I hope you guys get to use these in some other way. Maybe next time you're out. And like she said, I even think, yeah, like a glossy, like photo paper. I know every time I buy a printer, which I end up going through printers a lot, every time I buy a printer, it always gives me some kind of photo paper pack, you know? So that might work to mess around with that, because that has a glossy finish on it.
Yeah, that's what these were, photo paper, the small ones that were pre-cut that I had left over from something. So yeah,
Okay,
they
cool.
work really well.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, Marlene. We'll see everybody tomorrow.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.
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 Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Have a good day.
All right, you too.
Yeah.